I'm sure many of us are familiar with Occam's razor. It's a principle that says that when looking at a situation, the simplest explanation with the fewest number of assumptions is usually the right one. What I didn't realize until recently is that Occam's razor is only one of a number of different razors. I don't know why they call them razors, but they do. And one that I think is particularly relevant to the critical parent and to reparenting work is Hanlon's razor. Hanlon's razor states that we should never attribute someone's actions to malice when they can better be explained by ignorance or inattention. And so, as an example of this, you are walking behind someone on the street and you see them drop a receipt on the ground and they're littering. And for me, my first reaction would be like, what an insensitive person. How can they possibly be littering when they know that that's wrong? And that is an assumption on my part. It assumes that they mean to act out in a way that is counter to how I think they should be acting, when it's possible that the receipt fell out of their hand and they didn't notice, or it fell out of their pocket, or any number of explanations that are more about them not paying attention than them being a bad person. And I think that there are opportunities throughout our lives to apply this principle. It dovetails somewhat with the video I did on This is Water, that commencement address from David Foster Wallace, where our automatic way of thinking is to assume the negative, to assume that people are behaving badly or acting out or in my way. And the reality is that the idea that people are just also operating automatically and maybe not paying attention to things that we think they should be is probably a far better explanation for the ways in which they show up in the world. Even if it's not the most accurate explanation, it is an explanation that makes it so that you don't have to pick apart everyone's actions on a day-to-day basis. It gives you room to have grace for situations and say, maybe this person is having a really stressful day and is, wrapped up in their own heads, as happens to us all, and that's why they're not paying attention and cut me off in traffic. Not because they're an insensitive SOB who doesn't care about anyone else, but because they're elsewhere. Their mind is elsewhere. And I love this. I think that anything we can do to help to counteract that automatic critical parent that says that anyone who doesn't show up in the world the way that I think they should is an a-hole and they're wrong, anything we can do to counteract that is progress. Because you will be buried under the weight of your critical assumptions. They will consume your life. In any given day, there are thousands of things that we can be critical of with other people. And for me, the antidote to that is letting go. And the way that I'm able to let go is by reversing that voice that assumes the worst in people, that provides an opening for me to give them some grace, to give them the benefit of the doubt, to say maybe they're doing this out of ignorance and not malice. So as with all these things, try and identify things throughout your day when you're in the grocery store, stuck in traffic, waiting in line at the coffee shop, to give this grace to others. It's a small step you can take to interrupt the critical voice. And as with all this work, by projecting it outward, it ends up becoming internalized inward. And I think you'll find that as you give more grace to others, you can more readily give grace to yourself. I thank you for showing up as always, for being on this journey, and I'll see you back here next time.